systemic change is really educational change informed by systems theory. I think educational change comes in all sorts, an infinite variety of ways. People are often unsatisfied with one output or one process that happens in our schools or our school systems, and so the desire for change in schools is pretty strong. The communities I work with are generally underserved communities where you have multiple social systems not working optimally, education being one of those. I think what makes educational change systemic is the application of systems theory, which forces us to look at boundaries and environments and fixed operations and fluid operations. And I've been influenced a lot by Bella Banathy's work, which asks us to look at complex systems with a set of tools that makes it rather simpler to break them into their constituent pieces, look at them, and understand how they function as individuals and how they function as a collective wholes. I work with a school in New Orleans that was created by a group of neighbors who didn't like the school that they worked with, that was in their community. It wasn't serving all of the kids in the school, and through a meteorological incident, they decided that they were going to open a school and not only open a school, because that's sort of a vanilla activity, but they decided they were going to make children the centerpiece of their community. And that involves schools and the other attendant things that have to do with children. Excuse me. And what happened in the creation of this group of neighbors, essentially, is that they had to answer all sorts of questions about what it takes to build a school. Some people had a lot of experience. I was a former teacher and professor at the local college of education. I had a lot of vocabulary I could add to the game, but I didn't know that many people. This wasn't my neighborhood where I was born. A lot of people could bring that to the table. And we had a diverse group of people come together to build a school. And now that they have opened the school, they hired a principal, they have a curriculum that they were very enthusiastic about. It attracted a diverse group of students to a public school, which is in our city a challenge. Now that they own the school, they've begun a project of advocacy to work with other communities so that they can contain and get ownership over their schools. Normally, we think of a reform or creation of a single school as something that's unsystemic because it's going to work with a single school, but all the forces external to that school will sort of rein it in and constrain how unique or how different it can be from the mold that the external system wants. But in this case, that reform is absolutely systemic because it's very aware that there is an external system and that it plays certain roles on what happens in the internal functioning of the school, but it's taken that on as a challenge. So that's an example of a reform that is by all means systemic because it's informed that there's a greater system outside of a school that needs addressing, but it doesn't start at the level of a full system, a full district, a full city. And I think sometimes we get trapped into word games about what systemic change can be, and I think using that definition of change informed by systems theory is a nice way to cast a broad tent to make sure that the people who are interested in the same things that we're interested in want to join the work that we do here in the division.